government won't stop planned mass protests against President Barack Obama's visit this weekend, and Mac Maharaj lashes out at some media outlets. I'm Richard Brooks. President Jacob Zuma says government will not stop planned mass protests against US President Barack Obama's visit this weekend. Several labor unions, political movements and civil society bodies will be staging protests and pickets during Obama's two-day official visit. Some UJ students will also be protesting against the university's decision to award Obama an honorary doctorate. The anti-Obama protests are aimed at Washington's support for Israel and the US military involvement in Iraq and Afghanistan. Briefing the media in Johannesburg, President Zuma stressed that it would be unconstitutional to bar any protests during Obama's visit.
For if people have got views and they want to protest, it's an unfortunate one, but they've got the right to do so. And I'm sure even President Obama, coming from a democratic country, he knows it, that if people do so, they express their views. And people have different views about different things. And I don't think, from my point of view, we should exaggerate this and think that there is a disaster. Because how else people will express their democratic right on matters that they've got views about?
Presidential spokesperson Mac Maharaj has lashed out at some media outlets for broadcasting unverified information about the details of Nelson Mandela's health condition. He was responding to a claim in a CBS News report that the former president's liver and kidneys are operating at 50%, that he's unresponsive and hasn't opened his eyes in days. Maharaj has strongly rebuked journalists who violate medical ethics when reporting about Madiba's hospitalization.
The doctors have indicated very, very firmly that some of the reporting is transgressing on medical ethics, not just in relation to doctor-patient confidentiality, but in relation to the way in which doctors are being interviewed for their opinion. For example, I've heard the question today asked, is he on this treatment or that treatment? And the doctors have said to me, Mac, you start answering that question and you are down the road in violation of doctor-patient confidentiality.
Equal Education has called on Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga to apologize publicly for what it calls a racist statement she made last week. The organization says at a meeting today, Minister Motshekga refused to discuss the statement. It says she has suggested a separate meeting about the issue. In a statement last week, Motshekga said, Equal Education was a group of white adults organizing black African children with half-truths. She was reacting to Equal Education's announcement that it was taking her to court for breaching an agreement to publish the minimum norms and standards for school infrastructure by May 15. Motshekga has not yet responded to Equal Education's call for an apology. The Labour Court is expected to hear prosecutor Glenys Breitenbach's application to be restored to her old job as regional head of the National Prosecuting Authority's Specialised Commercial Crimes Unit next week. Her lawyer says the application will be heard on July the 2nd. Breitenbach's suspension was lifted after she was acquitted of 15 disciplinary charges against her last week. But the NPA then moved her to another post. COSATU's next action against Gauteng e-tolls will include the South African Council of Churches, which has also spoken out against e-tolling. This follows today's Drive Slow campaign on Joburg highways, which the Labour Federation says was successful. About 400 vehicles, including minibus taxis, took part in the protest. COSATU's Putas Tseki says the next protest will be in Pretoria next week.
In terms of the plans moving forward, COSATU is going to march again on the Go Slow on the 2nd of July in Tshwane. We are also going to have a prayer service at 12 o'clock at the Regina Mundi in Soweto. The prayer service is a very good one because it's going to be led by the bishops, by the South African Council of Churches.